Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Seeking Heaven channel. I'm your host, Tamara Caulder Richardson, a six-time near-death experiencer, evidential medium, Christ, and ultra-dimensional channeler, as well as Contactee. And we have a fabulous guest on today. I've been so excited about having her on. And wow, it's finally happening. And that's Vivian Chauvet. We're going to talk more about her. She is an Arcturian hybrid and ambassador, as well as an intergalactic communicator. And we're going to be speaking to her soon. First, I want to give you a couple announcements, and then we will begin this amazing journey together with Vivian. Okay, so everybody sign up on the Galactic Origins cruise. We're going to be heading out December 14th through the 21st. We'll be having lots of adventures. You can register at the galacticorigins.cruise.com. And Viviane Chauvet and her lovely husband, Peter Benson, will be there joining us. So, you could even use both our names on there, bring a friend and put both our names, but they're going to be there. 20 other approximately speakers that are going to be talking about some amazing topics. I'm going to be talking about the Sirians and also Sirius B. But B was a lot of fun, a lot of mermaid life, a lot of aquarians. So please join us. Also consider joining my Academy of Divine Wisdom, where you can get free and paid for very affordable courses. And also I have events. You can get a free Christ-like meditation, the same one that I saw in my near-death experience. Several things that are free on there. I highly encourage you. I do a very good job on these and put a lot of thought into it. So please take advantage of that. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. Check out my starseed services. I also offer evidential mediumship and life path. Finally, check out my store. And I have lots of original galactic and angelic merchandise. So check it out. I'm very excited. I have been excited. I've been wanting her on for some time. But I want to talk about Vivian Chauvet. She is an Arcturian ambassador as well as an Arcturian hybrid. She's going to tell us all about it. She's a intergalactic communicator, as well as a teacher, a healer. She's a published author. I know she's worked on several documentaries. She can tell us about that. She's also the host of Infinite Star Connections podcast. She's also the creator of the Arcturian Energy Matrix Healing and Healing Arts program, Enlightenment to this whole intergalactic communities. She has her best-selling book series, which is called Wisdom of the Silver Sisters, Guiding Grace, Golden Wisdom of Love, Legends and Legacies, and The Imaginist, and they're all on Amazon, and you can check that out. We're going to be going over a lot of things. We're going to put the website below. I do want to mention her channel. She does have a YouTube channel, and you can see that at Vivian Chauvet Galactic Healer. And her website will be below, but it is Infinite Healing from the Stars. So with that, I'm going to bring on Vivian because we have a lot to cover.
That sounds like a good plan, Tamara. Thank you so much for having me here today. And I want to welcome everyone watching this. It's such a joy to be in your presence.
I want to find out about you, about how you found out you were an Arcturian hybrid. What was your earliest memory? Did you have to get regression? How did you uncover this about yourself? Wasn't it hard as a child being here? Or did you find yourself to be a very fond observer of life here?
And that's a fabulous question. It has been difficult then as it is still to this day. What I have learned is to change my perspective about and reminding myself of a much, much bigger picture. So what I do when I feel I have my fluctuation and my challenge, and I'll give you an example of that. The first thing I do is I reconnect to my Arcturian self. And I remember that, it feels really good to be this intergalactic being. I love to be this intergalactic being. And I connected our wisdom, our energy, our council of light, who we are. And then I connect to Gaia. I connect to the consciousness of this planet. I connect to her. And I ask Gaia, remind me again, how can I support you? What is it that I promised that I would do, and my presence here? And then Gaia, show me. Well, I'm going to get imagery to my third eye. There's no need to get an image to remember. You can feel them. You can know them. You can have a sense of them. So use the senses that you feel more comfortable with. I use all my senses, and so I love imagery, and Gaia comes. and then it grounds me back here. It really does. So as a child, if you look at when I grew up, even back in the 90s and up, all this conversation was very for a clique or a niche or, special groups. And I grew up in Montreal, Canada. So there was not that much of that talk. It was more science fiction movies or some once in a while convention with, Star Trek people who I've met and they're beautiful and more of that nature. So it was very much more of a on the cover. I felt very much on the cover, like under a veil. The team will, my team will coach me to says, look, now it's not a time to expose you. Otherwise, they won't accept. You will feel
Got it.
rejected, and a lot of rejection in the sense that people will go like, I don't know, is it about you? You look weird, you talk weird, and even the way you walk or something about you, I'm not, and it's not, really macho. I was making fun of the way I run because I don't really run. I stumble. It's kind of weird for me. Or the way I move my hands, or the way I speak, or the way I perceive reality. And the verbal communication for me has been difficult to master. This very limited, fragmented way of communicating was extremely challenging. How can we convey such level of wisdom and high level of frequency with a very limited linguistic field? So that's another thing I had to learn to overcome and accept. Just some example. And Tamara, even to this day, I will go to conferences and I don't always receive warm welcome. I don't. Even to this day, I don't.
Oh, I don't believe that. Well, I just love you and your husband, Peter. I feel like you're family, and I'm super proud of you.
Thank you. Wow, this is big. This is really big. And Tamara, thank you so much, especially coming from you. That means a great deal. And of course, people have changed, and I get a lot of beauty and recognition. I mean, our members online are just phenomenal. People like you, and I mean, Neil, Alan, and other people. I mean, it's been amazing,
Great.
and I've seen the change over time. But without mentioning anything, I recently came back from a conference or a seminar, and one of the attendees sent me an email, and she said, Vivian, I don't understand why you did not receive of a more positive welcome to what you were doing. I may get an email afterwards, oh, thank you for your great contribution. But during the event, I will get a little bit more like pushed aside to favor the big names or the scientific or the physician or the ex-military or the more logic mind. Those are really, really, really
I hear
a lot
you.
of accolades. You know what I mean?
Yes, I
Someone
do.
like me, I'm just, okay, I'm a lady who says I'm an Arcturian.
You're
Where
Star Woman. Remember the movie Starman? It was a long time ago. You're Star Woman. For real.
it's
Uh,
true.
yeah, it's true. Well, I think so there it's okay. What I've, you know, being with the I still feel like I've got this mind of a Syrian, my logic, but I just think it's because their comfort level of being able to totally absorb that you're a direct soul incarnation here. You're not like a work in process. You're here. I think they can't really understand that, and because they can't understand themselves. You know how this goes. And so but your presence alone, the fact that you are different, that's great. We need that. And the fact that you are different, that you are activating people just by your presence. So this is, I mean, look, this is why we want to change some of this really flat one-dimensional thinking from the human race. It's got to evolve. I mean, poor Yeshua years ago tried to do it. fellow
Ah,
Syrian, fellow Syrian, and look what happened. I mean, so
yes.
we've got to change in this way. And this is my next question. This is about DNA again. I know you're like, oh, I'm so, but it's a different way of looking at it. It's not literally blood and lab work. Is the fact is that since we're evolving in our consciousness, and that's igniting these light layers within our DNA to be revisited and opened up, and how joyous, right? Uh, that do we need to get everyone at a certain level of awareness for us to have disclosure? That's the first part. And this duality, are they working with us with our upgrades, if you want to call it, to be more open, to evolve, because we haven't been evolving so great necessarily on our own. Just my observation. That's why I feel like now, all the star people are like, oh, hands on decks, wake up. Come on, let's do this thing. Let's do it. We got to do this. So, I feel like we're at this, we could feel it. There's this critical point, but it's not what people think it is, of course. Of course, it never is. So I know that would be our third question. So getting back, I don't know if you heard my two questions on that about, are they helping enhance our DNA? Just take it from there.
I got you. And beautiful. I love the way you bring a question in the direction necessary in you. And Sirians and Nocturnes, we're very old friends and we understand each other very well. So no worries there. We're in great company. So disclosure and duality, I love those 2 points that you brought up because they come really together. The duality energy that generations of souls and starseed have experienced, and whether you come back from the 1940s or the 1930s, and even well before that. But just to get a marker in time, 1930s, 1940s, you've been influenced a lot by, the Roswell crash and this phenomenal and this information, and then the Great War One and Two, and all of these. And then the 50s, for those who came in that generational timeline, the 50s redefined the role of woman, man, masculine, feminine concept, very, very archetypal, these archetypes very put in place. Then a higher movement, 60s, 70s, liberation, peace, it then been overboard, the other side of the coin, but without having this equilibrium. And what we're looking at over the last many timelines or generational timelines is we are starting to see more and more of a stability in the field. And I know that the human race overall as a species, you have so much potential, very much unused, untapped, unrecognized because of that duality energies. So when you're stuck in duality or polarization and like a pendulum swing, then it takes so much energy just to maintain. How can you even open yourself to says, oh, let's invite star beings on top of that? It becomes completely off of your realm. But that has shifted tremendously. And I'll tell you, what we call the way we perceive time, one time frame in a timeline 4 years ago called COVID. Okay.
Mm.
Stand
Hmm.
with me here. 4 years ago, that event was introduced in your timeline, in your reality. We call that a timeline.
Yes, I understand.
I know you do.
Oh
Everybody else.
yes, but you're. Oh no, thank you so much. I'm just so into what you're saying. I just love it. Go ahead.
Thank you. Sorry, I have my kitty around me, and I tend to kiss my baby girl. So I have kitty hair or Syrian's. In her case, it's Lyran hair all over me.
That's
So,
cute.
thank you.
Oh well, I'm a Syrian, so serious for. So I love my dogs.
Yeah, you love your dog like my kitty, and everybody knows my Bengal girl, my Peanut. She's
Oh, I
famously
love
known.
all animals. I love all animals. Love them.
I adore them, and I agree. I'm with you. So that event that was introduced in your timeline called COVID. Let's use everyone the word COVID as an umbrella. Okay, let's neutralize the energy behind it. Let's stay in divine neutrality. So there's no emotion attached, just an observation. That event that was introduced in a timeline from a polarization intention or a dualistic intention had created the counterpart of what duality does is it will create a very negative very condensed, very compressed, oppressive energy. But at the same time, it will create a counter response in the light. Because when you exist in duality, there's a yin and there's a yang. There has to be a balance, right? So the counterbalance of stretching the rubber band way too far, it is the corresponding point of what we're seeing now in terms of the awakening, conscious awakening on the planet. And it's worldwide. So what it does
Yes.
actually, it has so that counterbalance to the dualistic field to one event called COVID has generated a huge acceleration of cosmic acceleration, awakening on the consciousness. Even people who went through, I never believed in anything in my life, to I'm starting to question everything. There's been a
Fantastic.
breakthrough.
That's where they need to be.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's been a breakthrough worldwide. I mean, I'm getting much more people coming from places in the world you wouldn't expect. And there's awakening in places that really creates a domino effect of openness. So when we talk about disclosure and duality, well, they come hand in hand because the word disclosure prior to COVID and after COVID changed radically in meaning and how people perceive it. It's no longer just government files or ancient alien TV series and documentaries, all of it, and it's all good. All I'm pointing out is that the closure, you start to recognize that you are the disclosure. By your own experience, you are a disclosure.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Can I say amen? I'm from the South. I love it. That is fantastic. The disclosure is within us.
Precisely.
I see, I knew that. That's really cool. So, because of that, so once we unlock our own consciousness, is like, wait a minute, what's going on? To finally going, yeah, I have memories, or yeah, this seems right. This feels right. I don't understand it. This feels right. And then they follow the breadcrumbs of their spiritual path. Then, as they unlock themselves, then other things present themselves. So, would you say? I think I know the answer to this, but would you say our star family is assisting us once they see we reach that individually this critical mass and go, oh, that's so wonderful, and to help us through our dream state or help us in some way. Maybe it's to say, like with me, I started seeing ships, big ones. I was like, oh my goodness, this is so exciting. It really gives me evidence. And my husband, he's not as, he's totally open to all this, but he's more shy about things. He's not as come forth, as I come out of the closet, this the star closet, like I have. But yeah, he's seen them. And I think that was helpful to me to go, wow, if he saw them, I saw it, and seen it. So our consciousness is connected, and I want to talk about how is our star family interacting with us now as we reach to that critical point where we're open to it, right? To that contact. And how does that tap in, and how does that tap into more I guess larger happenings of disclosure within more and more individuals? How does this work?
Well, it's all the above because it's the realization and the acceptance that your star families or a multitude of enlightened and positive intergalactic groups have been interacting and coexisting with you all along. It's almost like if I have to do a meme or a cartoon, I would have a crowd or a group of humans and in parallel a group of ET beings like Sirians, Arcturians, and the enlightened one. And then suddenly one of them turn around and says, "Oh, did you see there's a group of Sirians here?" And the Syrian goes, "Finally, you can see us. We've been with you in parallel all this time. We're
Oh,
here."
oh my gosh. So our consciousness is not able to, oh my gosh. I that's why I feel them, but I haven't seen them. And they laugh at me, you're impatient. And I'm like, well, yeah, I am.
I get it. I get it. See, I can tell you I get what you just said because I'm experiencing it. So I can tell my group, you have no idea of what it feels like to be here. And they say, well, we're learning through your body, we're learning through your experience. And so what I do is that we communicate our experience through me, so to speak, through other groups that says, well, remember, you may have forgotten once upon a time your civilizations was also an historical point of evolution, but it's been thousands of years, so you forgot what it feels like. It's like telling you, do you remember what it feels like to be a kindergarten? And everything that you felt being a 5-year-old, being told you're going to be writing and counting and doing all these complicated, seemingly very complicated task. But today you go like, what you're talking about, this is basic, this is elementary. But you forgot that once upon a time you were at that stage. So it's the same thing here. You're rediscovering, or what I mean you, lovingly, of course, is the human species are rediscovering more and more what it really feels like to move out of a step down density fragmented consciousness and returning into a more unified higher frequency consciousness. You just forgot. And so we're here to help to create a bridge of remembrance. You can walk the step going, huh, I realize, I get it now. Where was I? Well, you just forgot. Now you start to remembering, understand, living it, breathing it, and becoming one with it.
Oh my gosh, again, that's so beautiful. I just want to cry at your words. You're so beautiful
Thank
because
you.
I love the word bridge. It's such and how they're gently helping us, at the stages that we're becoming aware, cross that bridge. And then as we go from there, I think that um it's like people ask me sometimes, like, I don't know why they do this. It happens occasionally in reading sessions. It happens with people occasionally in the past, particularly they'll go, am I going to fall in love? I'm like, I don't know. Do you want to fall in love? I mean, do I'm going to have a kid? I said, I don't know. Do you want children? I mean, we're totally at calls and everything. So I always used to laugh in the past when people would ask me things. As far as I know, I had tons of questions. We're not going to be able to get through them, and I like where it's going. So, if you don't mind, I would like to continue with this whole track because I think that has a lot to do with the evolution of now and where we are. And I'm just trying to think of what I've heard people say. So maybe you can respond to that. Um, as far as this duality and what's going on, I don't want to go into the, adversarial things. I want to stay in this positive light here. But are we hitting different pockets? You know how you said the COVID was a time frame where it made a lot of people did wake up. They really did. They started questioning everything. I was really excited about that because for a long time it was just me that were asking. I was asking questions. I'm like, I wish more people would do this. So that was actually a positive thing out of that. Do you think we're going to see more scenarios? Maybe it's not that, but something like that to get more people to snap out of it because they're literally in my opinion caught up in this old programming. It's literally they're like in this hypnosis. They've been hypnotized and they're constantly which I want to get into the pineal gland and the aluminum and all the ways that we're being held down by the food and the poisons. We've got to find a way it's literally just like the movie The Matrix. We need to find a way to snap out of it. Do you think any events upcoming that might be again like another type COVID to get the second wave of people or the third wave to wake up?
That's a fantastic question, Tamara. We feel that it is no longer necessary to create a chaotic event in order to create awakening. I think that if you look at the Earth history for what you understand and know of it, there's been enough war, there's enough conflict, there's enough suffering.
Yep.
It is no longer necessary to learn higher consciousness and get enlightenment to suffering and pain. That's
Oh,
an
that's
old
good.
concept. Okay, that's a very, very old concept. What we would like to teach the 1% behind the scene to bring them back and reconnect them to their heart and says you need to let go, release yourself to the narratives and creating all these scenarios to maintain your wealth, your false sense of authority, or your false sense of, presence and dominance and royalty presence, all of it says, you know what? Everyone on the planet is a galactic royalty. Everyone. You're all galactic royalties. Why? That's because of the uniqueness of what you carry right encoding in the profoundness of your being and even in your DNA. So the 1% that is controlling 99%, yeah, the 99% needs to realize that you have the majority, number one. Number two is to realize also to decode when you're looking at something, whether it's a political ad or a video or a campaign or a debate, go beyond, focus out of what has been said in a ping pong ball or tennis play, going like this, and looking at the bigger picture as what is it am I really looking at? And so it allows everyone to step out consciously of that duality matrix that play tennis match with each other like this, yin and yang, and start to understand what is it am I looking at? What is it am I this energy of the narrative is attempting to convince me of. And I'm no longer convinced this way. I can say I am standing in parallel to what has been presented to me. So it allows everyone to change how you perceive things, open your intuitive centers, start to get you in tune with higher guidance, higher truth be revealed to you, and also allows you to guide you to make higher choices in which will influence positively your decision. Is what if Tamara and everyone watching, what if just even 1/3 of the entire world population come together and says, I no longer believe in that 1% manipulation. I no longer believe in this false implementation of rules and regulations. I no longer abide by this. What would happen? 1%, 1/3, not 1%, 1/3 of the entire world population. We have the majority. You have the light. You have the authority. You have the sovereignty. But you have been programmed, you meaning the human race, has been
Mhm.
programmed to believe otherwise. It is time to step out of this false isolation. Planet Earth, Gaia, Terra Gaia, whatever label we want to give her, is part of a very, very large intergalactic cosmic universal community. You've never been disconnected. You're never isolated. You've never been the only species out there. Now it's time to reclaim to says, I in my heart, in my body, in my mind, in all aspects of my being, I embrace that I am part of a very vast, intelligent community. And so Gaia is part of the solar system. The solar system is part of the galaxy. The galaxy is part of a universe, and that universe connects to other multiverse and so forth. So it's time to step out of that isolation and false separation, if that makes sense.
It does, the false separation. I'm there, and I always, make a kind of kid and make a joke, but I'm not joking. Is I say, come out and play, come out and play with me, join me, join me. It'll be the best adventure you've ever had,
Well,
and you'll not want to go back because you'll see things for what they are. So I think this is actually happening. As I speak to people all over the world, and it's interesting. I kind of get tickled when people are first waking up. They get really mad. And I'm like, but that's a normal reaction. If you knew you were being lied to for a long time, it doesn't last usually.
no.
Usually it doesn't last. It's just their first reaction. Maybe it lasts a few weeks or months, but then they get past it because they get bored with themselves. I get tickled because I'm like, oh, that's somebody new that just opened up. And they're now looking at things for what they are. So with that, what about I see star seeds, if you want to call them. That's just to me a catch-all because it means a lot of stuff. It's just a catch-all, little silly phrase, isn't it? Because we're all star beings on Earth. But I see them coming together for the first time ever. They're not, the lone wolf thing. They used to do a lot of that. They're coming together with their abilities, with their um, coming from, like you said, their heart chakra, their heart source, their heart, and their universal cosmic chakras. Right? They're coming together in this way and helping others to remember, which is absolutely a beautiful movement. It's so exciting. I'm so excited to be a part of it because it's everything I've always wanted as a child, watching Star Trek and all these things. So it's like, when they would get together and they'd have these little confederation things, I would like, oh gosh, it's so exciting. I wish I was there. So I'm so glad that we're finally doing this. But what about the remaining, we're looking at, I mean, just to point out a couple things, the poisoning of the food, the nanoparticles, blah, 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 the 5G, 6G, all that, the chemtrails. Now, I've been told there's neutralizing elements by Astro, the Galactic Federation. He actually told me how they're neutralizing it. I'm like, okay, who knew? I asked a scientist. He goes, yeah, that sounds right. So he said they're neutralizing. Doesn't really have an effect. So there, from what I understand, I think we're also getting a chance if we're doing everything individually, we can. But how does that, is it necessary? And I can't, I'm going to speak in code right now, for the house of cards to fall. And then the birthright, the star, that are from the stars, all of us, humanity that are here, to be able to heal ourselves, to work together and offer a better world. How do you see this playing out? How do you see us working together? And is this necessary? And maybe people shouldn't look at it as a bad thing, but maybe a very freeing, positive thing.
Again, it's a beautiful multi-layered questions. So one thing that we want to clarify is that there's no need to wait for one aspect to wake up or to fall or to release themselves before you step into your power. It's quite the opposite. As you're rising,
It's great.
the other one can rise again. So it's more of a reunification in that sense. This is part of one of the reasons why we're here as the Nocturne Ambassador, is because we have reached the mastery of what being a unified civilization really means. So those who are behind the scenes are either human and non-human, because we have to, let's speak it the truth here. That is, they're not all humans in that what percent. There are also non-humans. The beings who come from other places. We know about the Draconian, the reptilians. No longer a secret. It's
Yeah.
no longer, big secret government file. We know that. I mean, even the children speak of them. I mean, I have a client told me, oh, my child was looking at a movie and they said, oh, that's a reptile. They can point them out. It's no longer a secret.
Yeah, I've seen them on TV, and I've seen them on TV and shift on TV. I mean, like, I don't know if other people can see them too, but
Oh, yes. It's becoming obvious. Look at their body structure. Look at their eyes, their demeanors. They've just been here for a long time. They
yeah,
too are an ancient race. However, like anything that evolves, sometimes the fraction of being that step down in consciousness, get disconnected from source, they forget and then they play the role. They utilize technology as a way to information and technology as a way to show themselves as superior, which is a complete illusion. It's not because you have technology that you're advanced. Think about it. I will rephrase that again. It's not because you have advanced technology that you are an advanced being. That's not where advancement is. Advancement is in your spiritual consciousness. If you are a spiritually conscious, advanced being with technology, now I want to talk with you. Otherwise, I'm not interested.
this is just like, what was it, the Khan on Star Trek, and then the whole where they had advanced technologies, but they wanted to use it for war, like, or for conquering.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And as a Syrian, the Syrians know so much about this because in their history, as you may already know, intuitively and even mentally, in their past, they have shared their advanced technology. And we know what that led to. If you put Advanced technology in the end of a civilization, regardless of which one it is, that lack the conscious comprehension or the consciousness of understanding the ripple effect of that technology, it can lead to disaster and even destruction of planet. And this is part of what the Sirians remember. So there's so many
Yeah.
beautiful Sirians who return to the planet in many form and shape to help to release that scenario of it's not because you have cell phones and little gadget and iPad that you are advanced. This is not where your advancement and enlightenment is. Reinvest more in understanding the natural, potent, innate faculties that you have. Understand the complexity of a human template, the language of your soul, the language of your DNA, and then we can talk about technology. But other than that, it's not where the timeline is going. I can tell you that. Forget about AI, forget about the technology. It is just a tool.
Okay.
Okay, as long as it's no longer a distraction to give up your power away from 1% to another level. That's what you're doing. You're just redirecting your focal point. So we've seen that many times. We, the Arcturians, as a very old, very ancient group, we have seen other species going into the same way, get involved into technology, AI, and all of that fun stuff without having the cultivation of the spiritual consciousness, and that led them to a wall. Their evolution came to an halt, and then we came in and we helped them, coach them to go like, okay, are you ready now to embrace another part of yourself? And that's the potential we're seeing here. It's just a potential. It's not a prediction, but the potential of some human being drawn or seduced by that energy. Maybe that's what they need to learn. At the same time, we invite you to understand that it's never your salvation. It's never where your enlightenment will be. Look at the great masters. We talk about Yeshua. We know him as Sananda. Sananda had no need to use of gadget and technology like that. Or you would say, well, Vivian, this is ridiculous. 3,000 years ago, there was none of it. Even if he was here today in physical incarnation, guaranteed he will tell you the same messages. That's not where
Yes.
we're going.
Yes, because what is the old saying? The truth will set you free. So, what is the truth? The truth is pure in its existence for all that's involved.
It's right here. It's right
And
here.
it's right in your heart. And
Yeah.
this is what's beautiful about working with these higher level beings is that's where they work. They only know this truth. They only know. And so I think it's important, like what you were saying with the AI on the different timelines or the whole track of the cosmic existence. We've done crazy stuff with AI, putting souls in robots, putting souls in. We don't, I choose a better game. I don't think that definitely is not the route we want to go.
No.
Is not intriguing to me. And I, because we've seen this play out. I mean, if anyone wants to know any strange concepts, I mean, you can watch the new Star Trek stuff. It's really good because they talk about concepts and the repercussions of it and our actions, and we need to be accountable. But if we do it from a place of love in our hearts, for not only for self but for all involved, then everybody wins. And it is that same message that Yeshua was talking about. It's the same one, but we just need to actually do it instead of repeating quotes, but actually do that. So we only got, I'm going to give you the last word, and we're not even halfway done. So I know you've got this big trip coming up that you've got to prepare for. So I don't want to keep you, but finish this off in the last words. What would the Arcturians want us to know? What do you want people to know since you're Arcturian?
Absolutely. And so the invitation is redirect your energy to cultivate a land or a garden. Communicate with Gaia every day. Open yourself to the heart, clear your mind, invite your mind to be the guardian and the opening to your heart, helping yourself to be able to go beyond all the stimuli that you receive on a physical level in this 3D reality. And when you take the time every day just to put your hand on your heart, take some deep breath, center, bring yourself back into complete interconnection. And that's what we call first point of the 0 point of divine neutrality. And ask your heart today, how can I support you? And ask Gaia to her heart, Gaia, how can I support you today? How can I be of service to the light? Many people feel, what's my sole purpose? What am I here to do? What else can I do? What technique can I use? Start by the essential. Live mindfully. If you use a bottle of water and you are walking in an airport or you're in a place you're not going to finish, so release the water in nature and put the container in a recycle bin. Then you can go to do. This is a very simple gesture, and I'll tell you the power behind it.
I
It
do that.
helps you, right? I do that all the time. It helps you to cultivate every day that body memory, that reflects of being more conscious, stay connected, even in a time of action, when you've been called, whether it's a baseball game with your kids or school or at work, you can live every day as a conscious being. And that is same thing in the kitchen. At home, are you utilizing plant-based detergent or without chemical? There's no need to pollute our waters and the land. Everybody wants organic food.
Yeah.
That's the paradox. I want clear water, clear air, and eat organically what's best for me. But what you're doing, what is your part in this? Are you in sync as a guardian, a steward of this planet? You may not be from this planet, but as long as you're physically existing on this planet, you become a steward. Like myself, I have a responsibility. So I live that way. I talk the talk and I walk the walk every day. Even when I do my laundry, everything at home, it's all plant-based. There's no chemical in this house. Or recycle bag or garbage bag, it's made of potato starch. It's 100% biodegradable. There's no plastic here. And when we have plastic, we dispose of it in a way that is making sure is. Now, you may say the infrastructure may not be completely there to support that. And that is the change we want to do. It's the 99% that is influencing what structure needs to be evolved and changed. And I'm talking on a very practical level so that everybody today can integrate this beautiful high frequency journey that we took together, you and I, Tamara, and all of our groups, and being able to bring it into a practical way that even as a human being, you can utilize that. So I live as an Arcturian in a conscious human form. How about that?
Yeah, there's that. I mean, I knew that the first time. I mean, I knew that the first time that I saw you. You said it. I believe there was no doubt in my mind because it's a presence that you have. But there's also, I feel like what you're saying is also an ethical requirement on the first level to ourself. It's being loving to ourself. We don't want to be out of alignment with with Mother Gaia, with nature, with anything. So it's a
Animal.
work in progress. So each day do something, right?
Yes,
It's
yes,
a
yes.
lot. So every day do something. I notice that I'm changing things all the time. I'm changing, what I eat, how I eat, what I do. We created a huge garden this year, and now we're talking about getting a greenhouse. I'm like, oh gosh, how am I going to do this? My gosh. And so it's like it's just, and it's funny, I did a huge, not fairy garden, but a fairy neighborhood. So in the first time and us living in our home, we've been here 29 years, and the house, we really like it because we like our energy. My energy is very angelic. People say, oh, the energy feels great. I was like, sure it does. But where the fairy neighborhood is now, we've got bukus of mushroom clusters that have never showed up before because now I got the fairies and the land happy. I'm serious, they're everywhere. I've got
Really?
stuff growing in areas that have moss, mushroom that has never occurred just by putting in this magical thing and acknowledging that well, what would you call it? It's here. It's just in a dimension we can't see. But that fairy,
Mhm.
and so because of that, I'm getting tons of nature, like walking up to the back door deers. I'm getting mushrooms. So we are. This is what I'm saying. This is evidence to me that we're on the right track when we acknowledge and love the land.
Absolutely. And you're becoming in coexistence with many other species. Birds, squirrel, deer. Take care of your animals. If you adopt a cat or a dog, an animal or a rabbit, well, you are responsible for that life form. Honor them as
Yes.
an intelligent consciousness. Dogs are not backyard dogs on the leash. Birds are not meant to be in a cage. So coexist with other species. You want to make contact? You want to be able to talk to intergalactic beings, speak like language, understand the DNA, activate yourself. It starts right here on the planet. You have all the tools at your disposal to practicing the art of speaking and connecting with other species. Everything is there. You know what we do? We have in our yard a beautiful water fountain for birds
Yes,
that
we do too.
automatically replenish itself.
Really? I need to get one of those. Oh my
Well,
gosh.
it's not the fountain itself. It's part of our irrigation system. We have one irrigation line that goes inside. We have a giant rock that hold it in place. So not only it serves two purpose, water replenishing every day, and it gives a place for bees to land safely so they can drink water and leave without drowning.
Oh, that is really sweet. Yeah, that is that this is good information. I do that too. I have the water fountain. I feed the birds every day. I mean, they come out. They're so happy here. There's so many.
Exactly.
And then yeah, and then I have huge praying mantis that are massive. One guy was on my windshield. I was driving to go get my hair trimmed, and it was on the windshield, and I was like, oh my gosh! I stopped the car and put it on a tree. I said, let me help you, and then I put it on a tree. Then I had a lizard the other day on my car. I was like, same thing. I'm like, they love hanging out on my car. I was like, oh my gosh! I went back home. I called my husband. It's an emergency. We need to save the lizard.
I know what you mean.
So yeah, and you do get the evidence because you start seeing them come around you because they know you're safe and you're looking out for them, and so it's just part of that love connection on different levels. So, tell people what project you're working on, and then also how they can get in touch with you, as far as your websites, and they will be down below as well.
Thank you so much, Tamara. So, one of the things is that I am the founder of the Universal Arcturian online community, and we use a platform called Kajabi. We have phenomenal offerings, membership level. We also have free content. We offer a lot every month with members. We're very engaged. So, right now, I'm going to be traveling to Australia and Uluru, and we have the Uluru Spiritual Project going on with the members of our community. When we're traveling, they're also engaged with what we do. So that would be a great way to connect and work with us directly. We also have the monthly Arcturian holographic group healing, which is an opportunity to work with beautiful masters of light. And the YouTube channel, subscribe to our series. We have the Starseed meditation series going on. And of course, I always expand. I write all my material every month with classes, workshop, all of it. And like you mentioned earlier, I'm going to be also on the Galactic Origins cruise December
Yes.
14th to the 21st for the winter solstice. And it's 12 years after the supposedly Mayan calendar end, the end of the Mayan calendar, I mean. So there's a 12-year cycle we're going back to and that energy.
Really? So you can't leave me hanging with that. So just real quick, what does that mean? Don't do that to me. So what does that mean?
Okay, I'll tell you in a very, very gentle glimpse, and it's something we're going to talk about on the cruise ship during the event.
Okay,
Is
good.
that 2012 was the announcement of the end of the calendar for the Mayans. But in reality, we're going back 12 years later. So that 12-year cycle, we are closing that time loop. So if you look at all the excursion that we're going to be doing, it's all about the Mayan timeline. We're going to be going together and an aspect of them in their higher dimensional self. They're coming to helping us to really, we're shifting out of an old paradigm to really help to accelerate the ascension timeline coming up between 2025 and beyond. So this is why it's so auspicious, that event.
Okay, who knew? Thank you, Vivian. So
Welcome.
that's why we're seeing, like, we're going on 3 Mayan excursions to see the ruins.
Yeah.
And because we're going to be doing ceremony, which I was told go to all 3. I was like, okay. And I may go there's actually, we have 5. We have that. We're going to a town to bake bread and do some other things. And then we're going to go to NASA. And so, which NASA I think would be a blast. That would be a lot of fun. But where you do the astronaut experience. But the 3 Mayan things, I had heard it was critical. My God said, you critical, you must go. And I think it's because some of us are keys. We're activation keys, and I was told I was a key. So I just like show up, and because I don't know how this plays out. But the thing is, some of us have to be in certain parts of the world at certain times. Does that right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So many of
Okay.
us coming together with the synergy of everyone attending. So one thing that I saw when I was brought on board by Alan and Neil, my Arcturian father came and he says, they opened a timeline in front of me. And I did see that 12-year cycle, that time loop. It's the same thing with Lemuria and Atlantis. This here was a rising of these timelines so they can remerge again. And here,
Oh my God. Bam. Okay. I just did a huge thing on Atlantis. It was very telling. I actually went in the creation and got who I was and portals and portal technology. And then I did, which I was like, oh boy, this is going to be way out there. And then I did it on Lemuria, the beginnings and the angelic beginnings and the seedings of how the different planets came in and how they were Elohim and Seraphim and how it came in with working with the different ones. And then it was kind of like, it felt deep for me and it felt true. And it was like really not some of the information not discussed before. And I'm like, oh man, how's this going to go? I was like, I'm putting it out there. This is true. And so this is why those stuck out to me, because you're saying it's a completion. So we can go back to that.
yes, it was very necessary actually to do. Yeah, very much so. Which is why I'm going to Uluru this year, because I'm going to be talking about portal technology. We know Uluru is one of the most ancient most ancient intergalactic portal of the planet. And we're going back this year, and this is where we're going. We're going to have 2 spiritual tour there in October. So we're going to be physically on site there with the land.
So if people sign up if they go to your website, correct, they can find where to sign up. Is that where it is right here? So they can sign up and actually see you. Can they see remotely if they don't go with you?
Yeah, they can connect, of course. So on my website,
Yeah, if they become a member or whatever they do, they can connect somehow.
yes. So what we do is that members of our online community, we have this project going on. So I'm going to be posting a lot of pictures and videos. And then throughout the entire month, there's this beautiful project I described right on the portal, meaning on our community portal. And then every member going to be part of it. You can project yourself in light body consciousness. You can visualize the place. You know when we're going to be on site and when we're doing physically those activations. And the word activation is just a big umbrella that has so much more to it. It's going to be very complex. So the land is calling. We are going with the Stargate group, and it's going to be many of us boots on the ground, and many, many, many of us also tuning in worldwide. We were in Egypt last year. This year it's Uluru.
That's what I was going to ask you. You were in Egypt. You did something similar. What was the deal? Because when I went to Sedona, I was told to go to the Red Rock. I had a dream 3 months in a row. Very high level beings come in. And I said, okay, I'll go. So I went to the Sedona thing. Guess where we stayed? We literally stayed on a house that backed up, that was owned as close as you could get to the Red Rock. And I started getting Argathians coming through, all sorts of the native guide that was Pikai, Sequai. It was the native people that live in the caves. They came through to me talking. I found out they were like a real thing. But so we're called to, the land calls us to certain places. You were also called to Egypt and did activation. Why was Egypt important in this sequence?
Well, Egypt is very also connected to Atlantis. And so when we look at these timelines are
Mm,
reemerging,
it's true.
when we went to Egypt, the bigger part for me was the Sphinx. It is through the Sphinx that I had about at least 5 different group consciousness who utilized my physical vessel to bring the necessary light codes that was returning to the planet. So there's a lot of these original signal put in place that were disconnected or diverted or completely, through the field, the 3D field, and we were there to reconnect these original signals. And it's between sitting between the Sphinx, the pause, that I got another vision with my eyes open. I traveled and I saw Uluru, and then the
Oh,
High Council, the Council of Light for the Pleiadians, the original builders of form, came and said, in a timeline, what has been initiated in a Sphinx, you're going to have to go to Uluru to complete a task, and then everything is interconnected.
I got it. But there are multiple points that there are pyramid systems and portals. Will that, just having the key ones done? I know there's one like in France too. There's different places.
Yes.
That will it connect and recharge or restart up the others? I mean, how do you see it as working?
It's going to be multi-layered, and in
Mm,
fact, we're going to continue.
okay.
Um, we're going to continue to work next year when we're going to Germany, and where we're going to be going in Germany, at the south part of Germany, it's where of the majority of the ley lines on the planet reconnect. So what we are initiating from last year, this year, and the next year, we are in what we call a triple gateway. And this is why I'm physically being called and shown very much into different places. So there's a conference going on in beginning of July in south of Germany. I will have all the detail on my website under the events calendar, under the events tab, special events. And I'm going to be there as a keynote speaker, but we're also there to bring a conjunction of so many ley lines that it's been conjuncting. And it's an
Okay.
ongoing process.
This really helps fill in a lot of gaps, and I understand keys and different ones depressing like a piano at certain points. You would,
Yes.
if you played a piano with it all down, it would sound terrible. But
Yes.
melodically, it would, to unfold, it would have to go down at certain points with certain keys or people or vessels. We'll call them vessels. um to this make sense, yeah, because they've been telling me Germany. I'm like, Germany? And I'm like, why Germany? And so again, I'm fussy, I'm hard-headed, but I do the job when it comes down. I make it happen. I do it 100%. I just get a little fussy on the front end. So look, that sounds wonderful. People, please connect with Vivian. Make sure that you check out her website as well as her YouTube channel. And I'll repeat that again. Her YouTube channel is Vivian Chauvet, Galactic Healer. And to be a part of her, whatever, she's got several events coming up, whether it's this one coming up in Australia or Germany or wherever else she'll be. She's very busy these days. So you need to follow her and be a part of it. And that's Infinite Healing from the Stars. You have been a cosmic delight. And that is the first time I've ever used that word together, cosmic delight. So
Wow.
you're well worth that, putting that together. You're a beautiful being, uh, being a way shower for those that are looking for answers from a reliable, beautiful source. So I thank you and want you to come back because we didn't even cover half. You've given a lot of good information. I'll make sure it's well seen and promoted so people can know about this today, because it was so important that people get to get really honest answers. You gave some good honest answers, and they felt very spot on to me. So thank you, Vivian. Have a wonderful trip to Australia, and I can't wait to see what else you're doing, and look forward to interviewing your husband, Peter Benson, who is also such a lovely person. They're quite a power couple. a power couple from the stars. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Tamara. Such a joy, and thank you for blessing me so much the way you have been throughout the entire interview and what you just said, a cosmic delight. I take it with joy and of course gratitude for who you are as well, for your services. It's such an honor to connect with you.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
It's my pleasure. Please subscribe, like, and make comments, and support this channel by becoming a member. Thank you for your continued support.